Good evening, everyone. My name is Chin, and I will be your host for tonight. On behalf of the GPO family, we'd like to extend a warm welcome to everyone tuning in for tonight's broadcast. We hope that everyone is doing well and staying safe indoors. A friendly reminder to maintain good hygiene at all times and maintain social distancing when heading out. As we like to continue improving your experience with us, please help us achieve this by completing the poll that we will be published during the broadcast. If you have any questions, please feel free to type them in the Q&A section down below. To anyone who is interested in sharing tonight's broadcast, a live feed will be shared on the GPO Facebook page and a recording of the webinar will also be uploaded on the page. Tonight's seminar features Mr. Erkki Lahesmaa, with his topic being My Musical History and the Music Education in Finland. As our GPO family attendees are mostly students ranging from primary school to college, their parents and their teachers, the sharing of knowledge and advice you have for all of us is invaluable and greatly appreciated. Now on to Mr. Erkki's biography. Erkki Lahesmaa studied the cello with Aldo Parisot, Zara Nelsova, Harvey Shapiro, and Timo Hanhinen at the Juilliard School, the Yale University, and Turku Conservatory, Finland. He has also had extensive chamber music studies with, among others, the Juilliard and Tokyo String Quartets. In 1990, Mr. Lahesmaa won the Juilliard competition in USA and in 1986, the second prize in the Turku cello competition in Finland. Mr. Lahesmaa made his debut in New York in 1990, performing the Dvorak Concerto at the Avery Fisher Hall in Lincoln Center. Since then, he has appeared as a soloist and chamber musician in Europe, USA, Canada, South America, and Japan. Most recent soloist appearances have been with conductors such as Leif Segerstam and others with cello concertos of Kalevi Aho, Edward Elgar, Camille Saint-Saëns, and Beethoven's Triple Concerto. Mr. Lahesmaa is also known as an active performer of contemporary music, and several works by Finnish composers have been written and dedicated to him. As a chamber musician, he has been a member of the Artisti del Mondo and the Corriton Ensembles in USA and the Arthur LeBlanc String Quartet in Canada. He is also a member of the Plus Ensemble and the Ad Libitum Piano Trio. Latest appearances have been in Warsaw Autumn Festival and Berliner Festspiel März Musik last year. Mr. Lahesmaa has also made numerous recordings, and his CD with the Plus Ensemble won the Best Classical Album Awards in 2010. Erkki Lahesmaa is Senior Lecturer of Cello at the Art University Sibelius Academy in Helsinki, Finland, and at the Turku Arts Academy in Turku, Finland. He has been a jury member in numerous music competitions and has invited to give masterclasses, among others, in Beijing and Shanghai conservatories, Santiago de Chile, Rio de Janeiro, Buenos Aires, Florence, San Sebastian, Lisbon, Glasgow, Weimar, and many more. Also, Erkki Lahesmaa is the director of Nauvoo Chamber Music Festival in Finland. Now let us welcome Mr. Erkki Lahesmaa. Hi, Mr. Erkki.
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
Are you?
Oh, I'm doing great here.
Very well, thank you. Yes, me too. And thanks for inviting me.
Yes, we're very honored to have you.
Nice to be here.
Very honored to have you. Okay, could you tell us a little bit about the video that we have just watched?
Yes, certainly. That was from a concert last year, from last March, and it was actually taken. The concert was held just before the closure with the corona pandemic. So we were lucky to be able to play that concert just before the closure. And I'm playing in that concert. It's been recorded in Turku, Finland, where I live. And it's from a concert series that actually the oldest concert series here in Turku. It has been going on since 1960s. And the concert venue is Sibelius Museum, which was built in the 60s. Very nice building made of concrete. And I'm playing with my dear friend and colleague Evelina Kytömäki, who is the senior lecturer of piano at the Turku Arts Academy, and we play a lot together, and we like to prepare a new program every year. So this was the last concert we had together.
Okay. Would you like to share with us highlights of your musical journey since young?
Yes, certainly. For that, I would like to share my screen and show you a little presentation I prepared. So
yeah, go ahead.
Just a moment. I'll share it. Here we go. Okay, and I'll put the slideshow. Can you see it?
Yes, of course.
Yes. Okay, great. Okay, so here we go. I would like to start with my musical background and about the education I had when I was young. I have been born here in Turku as well. And as a kid and youngster, I studied at the Turku Conservatory of Music. And here is my main teacher there. His name is Timo Hanhinen. And I regard him as one of the best pedagogues in the world. He's absolutely a fabulous teacher and a pedagogue. And he has an incredible ability to see the personality and the strengths of each student, and he teaches each student differently, and he's really a master in that, and on top of that, he's a wonderful cellist himself. He plays very well. He's over 70 now, but he's still very active, and he performs a lot. So I got a very thorough and good basic education in cello playing from him, which I'm very grateful for him.
I see.
Yes, and with that background, it was very it was good for me to go abroad, and the next place where I went was the Juilliard School in New York City, which is a well-known music school. And my main teachers there were, first of all, Zara Nelsova, who was one of the, I could say, one of the greatest cellists of the 20th century. She was a big star. She performed all over the world continuously, and she was especially well known for her very rich and big and wonderful sound, and very strong performances. Some of her recordings are very well known. For example, the Bloch Shelmo. Her recording is one of the best known and very acclaimed, as well as the Barber cello concerto that she recorded. But many others. But those two I would point out. And you know, she was this wonderful lady from old school, and it was really, it was not just the cello playing, but it was all the cultural richness that I got from her being from that older generation. So it was really enlightening studying with her. And the next teacher at Juilliard I had was this gentleman, Harvey Shapiro, who, as you can see from the pictures already, he was quite a character. Again, he was absolutely fabulous teacher, very good pedagogue. He was called the cello doctor, because he had this ability to always immediately see what needed to be fixed in the students playing. He saw it immediately, and he was very quick to to fix things. And you can see the cigar on his mouth on the left side.
Yeah.
That's something that was on his mouth from the morning he woke up till the night when he went to sleep. And he was teaching. His cigar was all the time in his mouth, and we just saw the ashes from the cigar drop down to his wonderful. He had a Goffriller cello, which was really, really valuable, and we saw all the ashes drop to the cello and going inside the F hole on the. So we were always afraid that when his cello was going to start burning, but thank God that never happened. But anyway, he was a wonderful personality, very warm kind of personality, and musically wonderful. He studied with Willem Willeke, this Dutch cellist who, for example, played with Brahms himself. So his teacher had played with Brahms. So I think that's quite unbelievable to think of. So he had all this knowledge from that time, and it was really invaluable to hear about all those things as a student. And then, so this was my bachelor studies, and then after that I went to have my master studies at the Yale School of Music at Yale University. And there my teacher was Maestro Aldo Parisot, very well-known pedagogue in the United States. He was originally Brazilian, but he moved to the United States when he was young. And again, he was an incredible virtuoso cellist, and again performed all over the world. And he taught from the Yale for a very long time, for decades. And he has educated and trained unbelievable amount of cellists, like hundreds of cellists. And he was a wonderful teacher also. He always encouraged us to be brave in our playing and take risks and never to be lame or boring. But so he definitely had this Brazilian flair in his personality and his teaching. It was great for me. I mean, being from Scandinavia and from a Nordic country, it was wonderful to also get this kind of teacher who had this kind of South American background. So it was, again, it was very, very enlightening for me, and I enjoyed it very much. Then a big part of my studies in the United States were my chamber music studies. And I was very lucky to have, when I studied at Juilliard, I had a Juilliard string quartet giving me chamber music lessons. All the players, actually, of course, it had many different members at different times, but these were the members that you can see in the picture who were teaching me when I was there, and incredibly valuable time for me to learn chamber music. Then at my graduate studies at Yale University, I was coached and trained by the Tokyo String Quartet. Again, with these members that you see with the picture. Yes, so both the Juilliard Quartet and the Tokyo String Quartet were in residence in both of these schools. So that's why I was lucky to have regular chamber music lessons with them. For 6 years, I had these lessons, so they were very important in my musical upbringing. And then, of course, I want to say just a few words about New York as a place to study for a young music student. Needless to say, it was incredible already in terms of the concerts that I could hear there during those 6 years. For example, I can tell when I arrived in New York, when I started my studies in 1986, it happened to be Mr. Mstislav Rostropovich's 60th birthday, the famous cellist Rostropovich, and that meant that he was having festivities in all over the world, but in New York, for example, there was 1 week actually 5 days when I heard him play 15 major big cello concertos, because he was playing every night with a different orchestra in either in Avery Fisher Hall or Carnegie Hall, and every night he had 3 different concertos. So 5 nights on a row, I heard him to play 15 different concertos, and that's just incredible to think about. Another thing was that Leonard Bernstein was still alive, and I heard on my first 2 years I heard several concerts where Bernstein was conducting. For example, many Mahler symphonies that he was very well known for. So these are things that will stay with me forever in my memory. Also, there was this Mstislav Hortzovsky, who was almost 100 years old when he gave his last Carnegie Hall recital, and I was lucky enough to be there. So, you know, it was, these are just the highlights. I went to concerts all the time. It was expensive, of course. I mean, it was a lot of money for a student. But now in retrospect, I'm very happy that I did that sacrifice, because I still remember almost all the concerts. So that was a very important part of my upbringing, just to be in that environment, the cultural and musical environment that New York offered me. Then the next place I went, after I graduated, I got my first job in Canada. It was in East Coast, and I played in a string quartet there. We were in a residence at the university, and it was a wonderful job because we were touring all over the country, all over the Canada, and that was the first time when I really got experience as a concertizing artist. In Canada, I lived also in different places. I lived also in Toronto and Vancouver. So it has been also an important country for me and in my history. So then back to what I'm doing now. So right now I'm a senior lecturer at Sibelius Academy in Helsinki. It's one of the biggest music schools in Europe, and I'm teaching cello and cello pedagogy there. And also another place where I teach currently is the Turku Arts Academy, where I'm a senior lecturer of cello as well. So that's what I'm doing these days. Basically, I'm dividing my time between teaching cello, some chamber music teaching also, and then concertizing myself, hopefully soon. Right now, obviously not, but I think the better times are coming. It looks that way. So that's basically my musical background.
Okay. Yes, it's very interesting. So I noticed you have competed in numerous music competitions. Please share with us your experience in the Juilliard competition.
Yes. Well, my experiences personally have been all positive, because I view competitions as a good place to get exposure to yourself and to perform. So I view competitions basically as performing opportunities. I don't like to emphasize the competing nature of the competitions. I don't think that shouldn't be the main point for anybody entering competitions. It shouldn't be the competing aspect. The aspect should be that you get a chance to perform, usually to a lot of people. Usually competitions attract audiences. So you get a chance to play in a hall that is usually full of audience, and it's a performance, it's a concert. That is
Yes.
my view, that how competitions should be viewed, because then also it's nicer to take part of them when you don't think too much about the competing aspect of it, because you can't control that anyway. So why not just to go and play the best you can and enjoy it? That's all what is in your own control, and I think one should leave it at that.
I see. I'm just curious, were you at some point nervous in competitions, or you're just enjoying yourself?
Well, yes, certainly, of course. I mean, I can't deny it. Of course, playing in a competition, I mean, you can never completely forget that you are playing in a competition. No matter how much you try to psych yourself up and think that this is just a performance like anything else. So of course, I understand that completely. So yes, I have been nervous, of course. But I'm sure I have been nervous in every single competition I have attended to. But still, I still think that the attitude, how you go to a competition and how you play there, the attitude is very important. So that you should not concentrate all your thoughts on the outcome of the competition, and you shouldn't think that, oh, I must have this prize, or I'm doing this just to get this prize. I think that's the wrong way to approach playing in the competition. So at least that is what I have tried to avoid whenever I have been in competitions. I have tried to see it as an opportunity to play to a lot of people, and yes, I have been nervous, but but still, I mean, we are only human. I think that's fine.
Okay, so you are also quite involved in chamber music all the time. Do you think chamber music plays an important role for musicians?
Yes. I think it plays a crucial role. I think that might be maybe the single most important aspect in developing as a musician. I think playing chamber music is very important, and already from very early years. So I really encourage all music schools to add chamber music to their curriculum, because it is so incredibly educating for the kids. I think it's first of all, when you play chamber music, when you have rehearsals with chamber music, the focus is in music. The focus is usually in music. It's not in yourself or in different outer musical aspects, but it's always the music is in the center of everything. So you learn to view when you prepare a piece, no matter if it's a solo piece or chamber music piece. When you study chamber music, you learn to focus all your attention to the message that the music has. And yes, so that's why I think it's so important. You also learn to listen to yourself and to the others in different way when you play alone and when you practice alone. So the fact that you have to listen to the others, obviously, in that will also teach yourself to listen to yourself. So that's the thing, and you will sort of see the music more as one whole thing that you are dealing with, rather than just one single line of music. That it's very easy to fall into that trap if you only practice your concertos or solo pieces. So when you have this experience with chamber music, even when you practice your concertos, you start to think about them more as the whole composition, and you think more, for example, about the whole score, what the whole score in the concerto has, and you are more you probably want to open the score of the concerto and study a little bit about it.
Yeah.
You have experience in chamber music, so that's why I think it's so important in our education. And of course there is also the communicative aspect. You will learn to communicate with others. You will learn to communicate through your playing. You have to have that kind of communication in chamber music. So again, that will then transfer into your solo playing as well, and you will be much more communicative musician as a solo player. So these are, I think those are probably the most important aspects about why chamber music is so essential and so important in all of our development. And it will always be throughout our lives. I'm not just talking about kids and youngsters. I'm talking about musicians, no matter what is their age. The chamber music, I think, should be a continuous experience throughout your life.
Yeah. Thank you for the answer. So just a reminder to all our viewers and listeners, please feel free to ask Mr. Lahesmaa any questions. He will be happy to answer you live later during the Q&A session, even like right now. Yes, just type in the questions. Okay, so on to the next question. How do you manage being both a soloist and chamber musician?
Well, first of all, I don't see any difference between the two roles. So I don't see difference in different ways of being a musician. For me, being a musician it's one thing. So no matter where I play, if I play a concerto in front of the orchestra, or if I play a sonata with a pianist, or if I'm a member of a string quartet, or if I sit in the orchestra, whatever, for me it's all of the same thing. For me it's all different sides of being a musician. So time is always the problem anyway. So more question of that. So I think it's important for a musician to be realistic about how many different concerts you can take and arrange, and of course you have to plan your time very well, and you have to be sure that you have enough time to prepare everything. But I would also think that also there is a question of how to divide your time between being a musician and a teacher. So that's maybe a bigger question. But again, teaching music is wonderful in that aspect that playing and teaching are just two sides of the same coin. There are two sides of the same thing. So they are very intertwined. They are very much like this with each other. When you teach, you are all the time using the experience and the knowledge that you have acquired when you have played concerts yourself. And on the other hand, when you play concerts, you are using all the knowledge and experience that you have acquired having been a teacher. In other words, when you have thought about so many things concerning the pieces you are playing or music generally. So it's really that's why I think I see being a musician and teacher, it's all sort of, it has a unity. So everything I do has this unity, and it's quite difficult actually to separate any parts from that in the philosophical level and think that, well, now I'm going to play a concert, so I am doing something completely different than yesterday when I was teaching at the studio. I don't think so. I think they are just two different sides of the same thing. So that's what's actually one of the most wonderful things about music and this field, I think. And the interconnection between the education side and the performing side in our field they are really very, very close together.
Yeah. Okay. How is the Finnish system of music education different from others?
Well, the Finnish music system and the music education system was really founded in the 1960s. And what was very important then was that Finland, first of all, one must understand that Finland is a very small country population-wise. I mean, the population is just about 5.5 million people. But it's a large country. I mean, the size of the country is large. So that means that most of the Finland is empty. Or at least it has very small towns and very small villages. And there are only few cities, and even the cities are small. I mean, Turku is about, the population is about 200,000, and it's one of the major cities in Finland. So that gives you a picture. So when this music education system was founded, what was important was that that kids could have a possibility to study music no matter where they are from. So even if they are from a small village or from a very small town, very far from anywhere, they would have a chance to study music. So because of that, Finland has a very extensive system of music schools, and you have music schools everywhere. So you can go to the very most northern point of Finland and a village and they have a music school. Or you can go to the very far east side and again to a small town and they have a music school. And then also they have the same system. So there are certain exams that are same nationwide and nationalistically. So there is, no matter where you are in Finland, you are being trained according to the same system. And another thing is that what was important at that time was that children from any background could study music. So that means that even if you didn't have too much, if your family didn't have too much money, still study music. So all these music schools are state supported, and that means that the tuition fees are very low. They are very, very low, about 200 or 300 euros per semester only. And so that means that a kid can study music no matter what's his or her background. So that has been I guess one reason why Finland has produced quite many well-known musicians, quite well-known composers, well-known. The Finnish conductors are well-known all over the world, but that's the reason. That's the reason because there are so few of us, 5.5 million people. So we have to really use the whole country to try to find the best ones. And we don't have one city that has 5.5 million people. We have the whole country is that big. So that's why we have had to have a very, very systematic music education in this country, and so that's where we are today. And Sibelius, for example, Sibelius Academy has a very high standard. And as I said before, it's one of the it's one of the best school music universities in the world actually nowadays. So so that's basically how the music education system works, and it goes also for the orchestras. Finland has many orchestras. Again, if you think about how small country it is, we have orchestras in small towns all over the country. So that's another thing that the state thinks it's important. So the state supports orchestra, even small orchestras in small towns.
As in
so-
full orchestra?
I'm sorry?
As in like a full orchestra? Or...
Well, they are not. Well, if the city, if the town is very small, then it's usually more like a chamber orchestra.
Yeah.
Yes. But still, it's something.
Yeah. Yes.
So basically, the state supports music and other art life quite well. Of course, yes. Of course, musicians and artists always complain that it could be even better supported. But I mean, if I compare internationally, I must admit that the state supports the arts quite well in Finland.
Yes. Okay. So as you have heard, the Jesselton Philharmonic Orchestra has involved itself in a variety of activities. Yes. On behalf of the GPO, we would like to ask your views on the GPO and its activities. Additionally, how would you suggest the GPO and its members further improve itself?
Well, I read through some of the points that you sent me about your activities. Well, for me, it seems that you have really wonderful programs with your orchestra. Really, I mean, I think, for example, this outreach program that you have, I'm very impressed about it. I mean,
thank you.
And this actually this is a little bit. I was just talking about the Finnish music education system and about the fact that also kids from lower income classes can study music. Well, your outreach program seems to be sort of similar. That you are giving underprivileged students a chance to study music for free, and I think that's of course it's wonderful. It's really important kind of work that you are doing there, and extremely valuable. I don't know how the music education system in your country is otherwise, but it seems that this is really really outstanding. Also, what you are telling me that most of the students are orphans and from very poor families and special kids.
Yes.
I think that is absolutely fantastic. So I'm very impressed about your program, and also I read about your music examination board, where you are. You do that because many of the major exam boards are too expensive to enroll in.
Yes.
So again, I think it's wonderful that you do this because the studying of the music, of course, needs this kind of structure. It needs this kind of examination boards. That's again that's what I was telling about the Finnish system, where we have this examination system. So it's of course it's the same thing. You need this kind of examination board in order to set standards in music education and to know what to compare the different kids to. So that's why I'm really impressed. So I mean, for me, it's very hard to suggest any improvements, because it seems to me that you are doing a wonderful job with this. Of course, I don't know how regularly the kids get lessons. So that that is something in as you know, in music education, that it's essential for the students to really get regular lessons. So of course, the smaller the kid is, the more regular the lessons have to be. So they really should be weekly lessons. So how often do these kids get lessons in your outreach program?
Once a week.
Oh, they do. Okay.
They do once a week. Yes.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
I think that's as I said, you are doing incredibly valuable work there, and I wish you all continuing success with your valuable work. So
Thank you.
I don't see any. I can't think of anything. That would have been my one question to. Well, actually, chamber music. Chamber music would be one thing, of course. That do they get chamber music lessons as well?
Yes, they do.
So there we go. So they
Yes.
so they have both. They have individual lessons, chamber music and orchestra. Is that right?
It's more like orchestra, I would say. Yes. Orchestra.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Yes. Yeah. Well, all I can say is that I think you are doing great work. So I want to congratulate you.
Thank
for that.
you. Thank you. Okay, so there's a question from the Q&A from Maria Monica Beckers. So I'm interested in auditioning in Sibelius Academy. Any tips for string players?
Yes. Okay. Well, I think that's a good idea. We have entrance examinations every spring. Actually, the one is going on right now. We are right now listening to videos of the applicants. But you must remember that the deadline is very early every year. The deadline for application is already in January. So you just have to be alert about that and be sure that you apply by that deadline. So you are welcome to audition, of course, and hope you will be successful.
Are there any requirements for this? Maybe like the language or the grades? Maybe we have to finish at a certain grade, or how does it work?
Well, for the language, for practical matters, you should be able to speak English, but there is you don't have to be able to speak Finnish. I mean that would be impossible for anybody. But yeah, no, there's no Finnish language requirement. The teaching will be in English for the foreigners. Then whatever. Sorry, what was your instrument? What was the instrument of the person who asked the question?
She did not mention, but she just generally says string players.
Yeah. So she can just check the additional requirements of the piece that she has to play on the audition. They will be on the website.
I see.
Of the Cellist Academy, so she can check that there.
Okay. This is from another person, anonymous. Mr. Erkki, what makes you decide to pursue music studies overseas, and of so many places, why you choose America?
Yes, that's a good question. Because I have been talking about the Finnish education system, so it's a very good question. That why didn't I just stay here? But, well, there were many reasons. At that point, you have to understand that this was in 1986, when I left for United States, and I felt that I wanted to have an exposure to different cultures and different teachers, and because I felt the life in the 80s in Finland was because it's a small country, the culture was maybe a little bit monolithic, if you know what I mean. I mean, it was sort of everybody knew everybody. All the musicians knew each other, and well, they still do. And how should I say it? It wasn't. I wanted to see something new. I wanted to experience something new, different cultures, different environments, and so on. And of course, I had heard very good things about these professors that I went to study with. So, as you know, in music, I mean, you go to study to a certain place because of a certain professor. That's usually how it is. So that's basically the reason why I went to United States and why I went to the Juilliard School in New York, because I had heard about the professors there and I really wanted to study with them.
I see. Okay, another anonymous from the Q&A chat box. So how is the acceptance rate for string players in Sibelius Academy? Thank you.
Okay, can you repeat that? Sorry, I couldn't hear that.
How is the acceptance rate for string players in Sibelius Academy?
Oh, acceptance.
Yes, acceptance rate.
Okay. I don't know. I don't have the exact number, but it's. I'm not sure. It's not. Nowadays there are many applicants. It's a quite sought after music school. So what I can tell you is that that you have to play very well in the audition in order to get in. That is what I can tell you. It's I think we are getting more and more applicants every year, and so unfortunately, of course, we can't offer a study place to everybody. So yeah, just make sure you play well on your audition. That's that's all I can say about that.
Okay, another question. Hi, would you say the techniques and expectation of cello playing are very different in between that of North America and Europe, especially the Scandinavian countries?
Yes, well, I don't think so. I think like with any field, it's not just music, but any field, everything is very global these days. Everything is global. So like we can see here, I'm talking to you from my living room in Turku, to you in Malaysia, no, in Singapore, right?
Yes.
Yes, Singapore. Sorry. So this is just one example how the world is these days. So that means also in music and in cello playing that the standards are starting to be similar, and the ways of playing the cello, the different schools, for example, of playing the cello, they are really getting to be very similar in different places. And it's kind of nowadays, I think you can't really talk about different schools of cello playing anymore. And actually you haven't been able to do that for decades anymore because of this globalization. I think it's all mixed up these days.
Yeah.
Also the students go all over the place. These days they can study 1 year in the States and next year in Europe somewhere, and so it's all really mixed up these days. So that's why I think there are really any differences in expectations or technique or cello playing in general.
I see. Okay, last question. Hi, Mr. Lahesmaa. To become a very good chamber musician, what does one need to do? Could you give some pointers?
Yes, definitely. Well, one thing that, of course, this is common knowledge, but unfortunately, it's not not always done, is that study your part and study the score well before your first rehearsal with the others.
Oh, yeah.
Remember to do that. Remember to do that, because you can't waste your time in the rehearsal wondering how to play your own part or how to put the piece together with the others. You should have all that knowledge already before the first rehearsal. So then in the rehearsal you can concentrate on the things that really count, which means you can see how together with the other players how you want to shape the music, and you can really also concentrate on listening and communicating with the other players. So this is the most important thing, I think, because as I said, too often that part is ignored, even though it's obvious. It's obvious, but for some reason, too often you go to a rehearsals where the other people are not completely prepared. So that would be my my advice to you.
Okay, so we have come to an end of our broadcast. So on behalf of JPO, we would like to thank you for dedicating your time and energy into this. Thank you, Mr. Erkki.
My pleasure. Thank you very much.
Yes, okay. We would also like to thank everyone who has attended and supported this program. You guys have been great. I hope you guys got the answers you wanted. So this broadcast will be on every Wednesday and Sunday night at the same time until further notice. Now, I will end with prayer. Please pray in whatever faith you believe in for the COVID-19. Dear Lord, thank you for giving us the opportunity to come together, continue running this program at a moment like this. I want to pray for the nurse and doctors from around the world who has been constantly treating patients with COVID-19, and I hope people who diagnosed with COVID-19 will get better soon. Lastly, I pray for our safety and health, and may the future there be peace within. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Okay, thank you, Mr. Erkki. We were very honored to have you as our guest speaker. And thank you, everyone, to have a great day. Thank you. Bye-bye.